Today we have Jonathan Grumley with us. He's currently a student at St. Martin's Institute of IT, and he's been through quite a lot. Today we'll be talking about what he's actually been through and where he's going. Question: what are you studying currently?
I'm currently doing the BSc Honours in Economics and Management.
Okay, okay. Where do you think will where this particular studies take you to?
The degree, focusing more towards the economics, I chose to go towards either a more specific focused economics, to be an economist, say with the central bank, with the government,
Okay.
something towards that field, or it also has corporate finance as a module which opens doors into the banking and finance sectors.
Interesting, very interesting. And why this particular subject degree?
I actually chose to study economics from a relatively young age. I started to do my O levels, my GCSEs, more specifically in Dubai, where at the time the economy was booming. In 2005, when Dubai was having its major boom, and I was interested in the economy, I'd always ask my father, "Why is this? Why is that?" And he'd say, "Study economics and find out." So I started to become passionate about economics. I chose my GCSEs, my A levels, everything around economics and finance, and then
And it all depended on what you were studying in secondary level, I'm assuming.
exactly.
Okay, the interest started already.
I went straight in with economics at GCSE, AS, A level, and then continued it right on into
Okay,
the.
very interesting. So, you're currently located in Malta, but you mentioned also Dubai.
Yes.
But you are Irish.
I am Irish,
Okay,
half
that's
Irish, half Maltese.
oh, even so. How come you Dubai? Were you living over there
Yes.
with your family? I'm assuming.
With my family,
Okay.
exactly. I lived in Dubai. I moved to Dubai when I was 13.
Okay.
I lived in Ireland until then, so I was born in Ireland and lived in Ireland till I was 13. Then, in roughly 2005, late 2004, my father's quite, how would you describe him? Quite, what's the word?
Adventure.
Adventurous. He seizes the moment, saw Dubai was doing very well.
And you need quite a lot of courage to do that.
You need a lot of courage, especially because Dubai is a completely different culture.
That's what I'm thinking.
Coming from Dubai.
Even between
from
Malta
Ireland.
and Ireland,
Exactly.
there's
There's a huge culture shock between Ireland and Dubai. Now, Malta as well has got a completely different culture. So my dad saw the economy in Dubai was booming. He said, "Let's try Dubai." And we just up and left in the space of a month. From he decided in February, in March, we had our stuff packed and gone.
Wow. Wow.
He jumped on the boat straight away. No job,
Could
nothing.
be attributable to Irish blood. That was on the
Could
move.
be.
Right. So living abroad, is it more exciting than necessary, or is it more necessary than exciting?
Living abroad, you're referring to Dubai or
Malta, Malta.
Oh,
Malta.
from my family?
Exactly, because you are not here currently with your family.
No,
if
I'm here
if
alone.
I'm assuming correctly. Yes.
With my girlfriend. It's more exciting than a necessity because the University of London's do offer the international program in Dubai itself. I actively chose to come to Malta. Also, there's a centre in Ireland. I looked into every possible opportunity, but I chose Malta myself. So it was more an adventure for me. You might say I take after my father.
Indeed, indeed. In fact, that preempts my other question. Why Malta?
Why
Any-
Malta? Well, my mum's Maltese.
Okay.
She's from Floriana, and I thought I would come to somewhere where I visited every summer. So I've always come to Malta in the summer to see family and my mum's side of the family. So then I decided if I could study for a University of London degree, that was number one. I wanted an LSE, University of London degree. Then after that, I wanted to go where I was comfortable. I knew Dubai, I lived there at the time, it was about 5 years. I lived in Ireland before. I was like, let me try Malta. So I came to Malta.
Okay. Did the weather have any influence on that?
It was a benefit to the extent that in summer in Dubai is unbearably hot.
So Malta's like somewhere in between.
Somewhere
Ireland and
between
Ireland.
Ireland is ice cold, Dubai is
Exactly.
scorching, Malta's got a nice balance.
That's great. Um, about supporting yourself. Okay, it's quite obvious that I can imagine that your family finances your studies,
Yes,
etc. But
yes.
do you also work perhaps a part-time job or anything to facilitate your life?
Do I work a part-time job specifically to facilitate my studies? No. My father, my family, my mother and father finance everything.
That's great.
Um,
But then your own life, perhaps, just have spending money, etc.
No, there was no need for me to get a
Okay,
part-time job.
that's great.
My parents are very studious. My dad said, you go, you relax, nothing takes your mind off studies. So he was willing and kind enough
That's extremely interesting to know.
to finance everything
Everything. So did you concentrate just
so
on
that I
one thing?
concentrate. He didn't want anything to
Uh-huh,
distract me,
uh-huh.
not on weekends, not on evenings. He wanted me to be dedicated. Coming from Ireland, he knows very well what LSE is like, so he knew the calibre of the degree. So he was
And it
willing.
is definitely not easy.
It is definitely not easy. And he was willing to fully fund everything.
Currently, if I'm not mistaken, I was checking the other day, LSE is ranked at second out of I don't know how many,
Yes,
between Oxford University and Cambridge,
exactly.
which is something. Sort of knowing that you're going to such a university
Uh-huh.
already scares you,
Uh-huh.
let alone you have to
Having to
manage.
actually
So,
go through and manage everything.
exactly, which
Uh-huh.
is right. Continue with family. You have a brother right here.
I have a
With
brother
younger
here,
brother,
a younger brother,
Thomas, right?
Dylan
Dylan,
Thomas.
Dylan
Uh-huh.
Thomas. I always call him Thomas. I don't know. I
Everyone
had
has a
the honor to.
tendency to do that.
Excuse me.
Everyone has a tendency
Everyone
to
has.
that because his name is actually Dylan Thomas,
I
but
see. I see.
everyone Dylan
Calls him
Thomas.
Thomas. Perhaps it rings better with the face.
Uh-huh.
He's following in your footsteps, so that must be that something right happened over here.
Yes.
Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, and basically Dylan as well from a young age was very interested in economics, as I was.
He's doing the same
It's
subject,
the
same
exact
degree.
same degree.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he was very interested in the subject as well, as a subject in its own right, economics. And he was in Dubai with me, and again he is also very aware of who LSE are as a degree. So he wanted to pursue an LSE degree. Everyone knows if you say economics and then you say London School of Economics, it's the perfect mix. So I came here in 2010. He graduated from his A levels 2 years later. So I came here as he was entering sixth form.
Okay. Okay.
And obviously I had 2 years
And
experience.
he was still in Ireland, I'm assuming.
Dubai.
In Dubai, of course, of
Uh-huh.
course.
He was in Dubai starting his A levels when I started
Okay.
here at St. Martin's. So I had 2 years to get a feel of the institute, to get a feel of life in Malta, to establish a little bit. And then he was looking as well. Do I stay in Dubai and study for it in Dubai? Do I go? And I recommended from my own experiences St. Martin's. I said you should come to St. Martin's. I've got the experience. I can personally guarantee certain lecturing quality, certain hands-on experience that the lecturers have, and I recommended St. Martin's to him, and he came across.
And he's here and seems
Yes.
to be enjoying it.
Yes,
From what I
yes.
see. That's
Uh-huh.
great. That's great. Any other siblings?
No, that's it.
That's two.
Just me and my brother.
Okay, great, great. Is there the possibility of you continuing to live in Malta after graduating?
Yes, there
Yes.
is. I'm a very open person, as you know. Dubai, Ireland, now Malta.
Exactly.
So I'm very willing to travel. But yes, there is a possibility for me to stay in Malta so long as I find a good, correct job.
Exactly.
My girlfriend is based here as well, so I'm relatively settled here.
Okay.
So, I'm very open to settling down in
Okay.
Malta.
That's great to hear, actually. Okay, romantic liaisons. You have a girlfriend, right?
I do.
Okay, you've been mentioning her. She seems to be quite a special person.
She is.
I'm glad for that. Any difficulties in maintaining a relationship while you're studying and you're concentrating so much on something so serious?
To be honest, a lot of people would think, how do I manage to balance a long-term girlfriend who I've been with for over 2 years now, and how will I balance a girlfriend commitments, study commitments, maybe even
Because you
more
need
so
time to
because
keep-
it's the London School of Economics. You don't just need a couple of hours.
Totally
Or
so.
I have some friends from other universities who may manage to cram before the exam, whereas London School of Economics, it's a continuous thing. However, luckily for me, she's very understanding. She herself has a degree in social work, so she understands the demand of the degree, and she's very open and for me to study and take the time, and when I'm free,
Support, mutual support.
very, very
Is she
much
Maltese
so.
by any chance?
She is Maltese.
So you're following in your father's
I'm
footsteps.
following in my father's footsteps.
Excellent. I like that. He must be like a superhero model.
He's
for
a
you.
very influential man for me.
That's very nice. That's very nice. Right. Hobbies, interests.
Hobbies, I'm a fan of the gym.
Okay.
I used to go to the gym quite actively. I'm a bit out of shape now because I've unfortunately had to stop that for the
study.
studies. I was going to the gym predominantly until the last year, but then once I started my final year, usually the routine was I would stop around February completely, and I would focus only on studies. Whereas
Okay.
since this is my final year, I figured from the beginning no gym, so I stopped last summer. So I'm looking forward to starting back now
I
in
can
May.
imagine. I can imagine. In fact, this also brings me to another question: time management. So you have, of course, studies, and it's not easy being in
Of course.
part of LSE. You have a girlfriend. You like going to the gym, which you stopped. So
Which I
it
stopped.
means that you have to stop some things
Yes,
if you want to get something which is of principal importance.
exactly.
Could you elaborate on that? Because some of our students over here, perhaps the younger ones, could be even the older ones, have a misconception of time management. They think that time manages itself.
Okay. No, there's a huge need to recognize priorities. Um, Degree came first for me. My girlfriend, I'm not going to say came second because she was so open to allow me to study and give me the adequate time that there was no need to have a dilemma of the girlfriend needs time on Friday, I need to study.
That sounds fabulous,
There was no dilemma of that sort. My girlfriend, like I said, has a degree, she recognizes it, so I was very much so to be able to balance them. Of course, London School of Economics is a signal in itself, so that's why I feel the need to push my limits. And everything else after balancing my girlfriend and my studies, um, until very recently, would be gone. Why did I say until very recently? Because now my brother's in the picture. My brother's a first year student, and I feel obliged and the need to help him along the way. So I got rid of gym, but then my brother came into the equation.
Exactly.
Not that he's a burden. He's very able to look after things himself. He's proved to be doing very well in his first year. But I do, obviously, as an older brother, feel the need to dedicate a few hours to him here or there during
In the
the
absence
week.
of the parents.
In the absence
even
of
more
the
so.
parents, I feel responsible for him and his studies because I feel I've been there and done that.
Exactly.
I need to guide him. Although he's very capable, I still, as an older
And who
brother,
is
feel
better
obliged.
to actually do that?
So you need to set a priority. So for me, gym was completely out of the question, and it's something I'm passionate about. It's something I've done from a relatively young age. It's something my father does quite actively. Um, so the gym is something I was passionate about. I decided to leave that to the side. All other extra activities, be it going out, I limited. My social life is more or less frazzled out. I don't really have much of a social life.
And that's understandable.
For the
Understood.
last year at least, you need to push it.
Exactly.
And
And that is something which few students understand, that social life will come after you start
exactly.
working.
The way I see it is the social life will come as after I've graduated. I've got ample time to
Exactly.
have
And
a
you're not
social
wasting
life.
any social, because
I'm
you still,
not.
how old are you, if you don't
I'm
mind me asking?
20.
20. So that's like a whole life in front of you.
So for me, socializing can come at a much later stage in
Definitely.
life.
And it will be better socializing, because then you have much more money to actually be able to
Exactly.
socialize with.
Hopefully, I get a degree, get a
No,
job, and
fingers
I have
crossed
the
again.
money to.
Exactly. Right. I think it's the last question I would like to ask you, and it's a double question. Um, you have studied, you're going to do your finals, so hopefully I'm sure that you're going to pass with flying colors,
Yeah.
and we're all going to be so proud of you. um, uh, have you any contacts yet as regards to jobs?
Okay. Yeah. Um, well, actually, it started from last summer. So the summer after my second year of studies, I applied to do a program with Vodafone Malta. So I started in the summer from May. In fact, I finished my exams on the 26th. I think on the 27th, I walked into Vodafone Malta's office. And I was working there in the marketing department.
Okay.
I was a full-time employee during the months of summer. Then October came where I started my final year. And as I told you previously, there's that need to prioritize. I felt the work was too much when it came to studying, and I'm someone that if I do something, I will do it with 100% of my heart. So I did not want to, like I said, studies came first. So I knew if anything was to suffer out of studies or work, it would have been work. I
So you
approached.
basically left your
I
full-time
left
job, you left gym and
Vodafone,
everything just to
just to concentrate on
that's
studies.
great.
I approached the management of Vodafone Malta and I said, as I'm sure you'll appreciate, my degree calls for my 100% attention. I explained to them that if I want to work for an employer, I want to give 100%. I don't want to give them even 90%. And I know during my final year, I will not be able to give them 100%. They were a bit, not reluctant, upset to see me go. They tried to work around with it, maybe work 2 hours a week only, maybe just show your face on a Friday. And I said, not that I want to cut ties, but I do not want to come in for an hour a week. Give it that hour where I know I'll still be thinking about my studies during that hour, and leave an impression on you that you will judge me on this hour a week because I know I'm capable to do much more. So I want to work for an employer where I can give 110%. They understood. Studies came first, and they said okay, and they welcomed me back after graduating.
Oh,
So that was one opportunity. However, I like to leave all options open.
definitely.
Um, and I went to a careers event and I got in touch with PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Wow.
There was meant to be a 10-minute interview which lasted about 50 minutes, so we had to take it. They offered me a first interview. Went very well. We spoke about possible opportunities, and this morning I got the email for the second interview.
Wow.
So I'll have the second interview with
Congratulations.
PricewaterhouseCoopers.
And wish you the very best.
And I'm still obviously open and applying to
Oh,
several other places.
You never know where
You never know where
exactly,
you'll go.
Exactly.
But it's proof that two completely different organisations,
Totally.
PricewaterhouseCoopers, I would be going into the advisory, mergers, acquisitions, advisory on that perspective. And with Vodafone Malta, I was with marketing. So even my economics degree has opened up advisory and marketing before I've even stepped out into the real labour market
That's what
to
I was
see
thinking. That's what I
to
was thinking.
see where else I could go.
You're still studying, you're still there,
I'm still
a
studying,
student, and so many
but
doors open.
it's also to show the value of a degree. Not only a degree, but the value of a London School of Economics degree.
Exactly.
Because I can tell you from experience, when I approached the interview, the first thing they kept focusing on is, so tell us, London School of Economics, what's the degree like, what's that? From PricewaterhouseCoopers, the interviewer actually came from London School of Economics in London. So they were very able to relate to the course, to relate to the depth we need to go into. And it proved as an asset, as PricewaterhouseCoopers actually said to me, coming from London School of Economics proves as an asset in two ways. One, from the academic perspective,
Definitely.
you have got the creme de la creme when it comes to degrees. The second is from a discipline perspective. The fact that you've come from such a disciplined university says a lot about the character. And if you are able to get through such, I can't remember the exact word they said, but if you are able to get through such a difficult degree, a degree that needs so much dedication, it shows a lot about a character of an individual and how they will perform on the workplace. So that's hopefully two possible avenues, and I'm open to many more.
Best of luck then. Yeah, you just stupefied me with the last bit that you said over there. It's like so much open there, and you just still a student. So this means a lot. Let's see. One last little thing. Having done the degree in Malta and not in London, did it create any difficulties, differences? Would they see you in a different light perhaps when you're applying for a job?
No.
No.
If anything, they see me in a more positive light. The fact that I didn't come from London, for one simple reason, that a lot of the studying is done alone. So they recognize it as being even more dedicated.
Exactly.
Because, okay, I come to an institute, I get great support from my lecturers, there is still an element which is self-study. So whereas someone in London attends the lectures and gets a lot of notes and, let's say, is getting the word from the horse's mouth because they know who's going to be examining them,
Totally so.
I am having to study a book which that person has written. So I've got to read it, interpret his words. I'm not there firsthand, so there's even more time that has to go into studying from an international perspective. So they looked on it as a much more positive thing, the fact that I came from the international program, as well as other things which I've gotten from the international program, as proof I done quite well in my